Yep. Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel. This is Asim, and today I'm gonna recording another video of Hacker to Hacker series. And today I have a very special guest with him. His name is Rupam Bhattacharya, and he started his journey 12 years back when there was this Lehman Crisis. I don't know how many of you remember that or not. It was a great economic recession. It was very difficult to get a job back then in the market, and the whole world plunged into this economic crisis. He has more than 12 years of application security experience and has been part of amazing cybersecurity teams like McAfee, Intel Security, and PwC. More recently, he has been working with crypto and application security startups in the UAE. He has helped numerous clients address their application and cloud security requirements across the globe. He also leads the Null chapter, which is an open source, open security community in Dubai itself. And he has focused his career mostly on building application security products and solutions to ensure continuous assessment and remediation. This would be a very interesting one, and we would get to learn a lot of these things from his experiences. Let me just add him to the stream. 1 second. Yep. Hello, sir.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for talking to me.
It's my honor, sir.
Looking forward to the stream.
Yep. So yeah, I see a few people who have already logged into this. Yes, sir. So I just wanted to have I gave a short intro, but that was a very brief one. I would like to you to introduce yourself to the audience. That would be really cool.
Yeah. So I started back in Bangalore, and I started as a developer slash tester. Um, and like very quickly I realized that okay, writing code, like we have a lot of code already written, right? And the thing that is lacking was like securing that code. So I started doing fiddling around with um, code and applications very early in my career, like 2009. Even before that, I did my engineering from Rajasthan University, and at that point, I was also interested in writing code. I participated in IBM Great Minds Challenge and wrote application, and which was like appreciated by IBM, and I was awarded. So writing code was my you know interest from the beginning, and that actually resulted in my first job. And then during the job, like in the first 6 months, I realized that okay, you need to uh, pivot to cybersecurity because that's going to be a big thing in the future. So I started identifying vulnerabilities on my own, and that was when I was part of the McAfee R&D team in Bangalore, and I found quite a few vulnerabilities in the first few months. And to my surprise, they really appreciated that I found these vulnerabilities, because at that time it was not so appreciated that yeah, you're finding the security vulnerabilities in the applications, right? Because it still is a trouble, but I'll talk about the mindset change because that has really changed during the last 12 years, right? So that was really appreciated, and then I got the chance to move into a very fully dedicated cybersecurity role, and I was working with the team in California to like build the cybersecurity environment and the cybersecurity pipeline in Bangalore office, right? So from there it got started. So I did the McAfee R&D cybersecurity implementation on like software security SDLC, right? So the development life cycle, and at that time it was waterfall model. It was not the
Yeah.
agile model that you see now, and I will talk about the changes there as well, right?
Mm.
So yeah, so I did this waterfall model and for a few years, and then I thought like okay, I did it for one organization. I did it for one set of products. What if, like, I want to explore what different verticals, right? So this is something that I also tell to people that want to learn how to pivot in their career and grow their focus. You need to explore multiple verticals, and nothing is better than doing consulting work to explore multiple verticals, right? You get to work with multiple companies from multiple
That's so
industries,
true.
right? So
So
that's
true. Yeah.
why that's where I thought, that let's move to a consulting role where I joined PwC, and then I got chance to work with healthcare, and then payments industry, um, and like some entertainment industry. So yeah, so this has been my initial career, and then yeah, I got reached out from a company in UAE. Then I moved to UAE, and I established a services division here. It was doing significant amount of revenue for 5 years. So it was, from the beginning, it was a startup experience where I built my team, where I built the practice. I worked with multiple banks, e-commerce, and retail and government entities across the region. And yeah, now I'm working with a crypto company, trying to build application security, bring the application security mindset in the crypto industry. It's really, really early, but yeah, it's been a good journey with
Oh,
crypto as well.
you're early in the game in crypto. I see. I mean, your whole journey from 2009 to 2023 now, it's like 14 years now, and so many industry, healthcare, finance, fintech, entertainment, now crypto, which is like the cutting edge kind of thing. Everything is there. So you have seen a lot of these industries, a lot of these things. Which one of them did you find was very interesting, or which one was that you would want to go back to again if you had the chance?
So I've been involved in like some kind of crypto related activities from 2015, right? And I got chance to work in crypto just last year, with the crypto company last year. But it has been really, really interesting to me, the journey that Bitcoin has taken from 2010, I think, to now, and the way that it is trying to revolutionize the financial ecosystem is really, really interesting to me. So this was one of the most interesting industries, but it is going through a monumental change now, right? And you're seeing that there are new dynamic developments every day, right? So it is really, really early, but this was the most interesting industry that I worked in. And in the future, I think a lot of cybersecurity consultants will get more opportunities in this industry.
Oh, definitely. I'll come back to this later in the live session. But yeah, this is really interesting. I know a few of my friends who are now doing this crypto audits and stuff, and they talk about a lot of these things, which I am still not able to grasp a lot of these. But I'm trying to learn more about blockchain security, Web3, crypto, and these audits and the contracts and all those kinds of things. But yeah, there's still a lot of things to learn from. Yeah, yeah, that's right. So let's come to the second question that I had for you. So you have been 12 years into cybersecurity. You have seen a lot of these changes, a lot of uh, things you have seen. Like I've been into professionally, I've been like 4 or 5 years now, and I see what are different things that I'm changing. Like initially, I used to do IC work totally, where I just worked solely with my project. Now I'm also working with a team of people. Like I'm working, and maybe there are interns who are working under me. So these are different phases of cybersecurity journey that I have seen. And you being 12 years into it, you would have managed a team. You would have started early where you were totally working alone. You were working under maybe multiple teams and all. So what would you suggest to a person who is just starting to get into cybersecurity? So there are multiple profiles of people. There could be a person who is into college and they're trying to get into cybersecurity. Like at that your time, there were resources were very like shortage of resources. Now there excess of resources and don't know what to follow, what not to follow. That is one
Right.
of the profiles. There is a second profile where people who are into development or maybe testing, like you mentioned, you were into initially into testing. They would want to move into cybersecurity because they feel that okay, this is something that I'm doing and cybersecurity is quite interesting. It's a good paying, well payout and everything. So there's less burnout compared to a development role. That is the second type of profile. Third type of profile would be like people who like me who are already into cybersecurity. Like they know what they are doing, but how do they progress in their career? So this second part I would try to like tackle it in a different question altogether as to person who are already into cybersecurity, how they should grow their cybersecurity journey. What should they focus on, like maybe threat assessment or things like that. So I would like you to answer that. How should one get into cybersecurity, and if they are already into it, how should they progress their career? How should they plan their career?
Right, great question. And yeah, this is being asked by many people, like in my conversations at Null as well, right? So Null is open security community where even non-security people can come and start learning. So I will say start by collaborating with people who are already in the cybersecurity industry, right? So if you are in college and you see that, okay, there are few cybersecurity roles that were offered, and some of them already got those roles covered, but you are really interested into getting into them. So even if you are doing a developer job or a tester job at the moment, try to collaborate with those people who are already in cybersecurity, maybe from your age, or if you get chance, even senior guys, you can collaborate with the senior guys. And curiosity is very important. So keep an eye for new technology, and keep an eye for the new attack vectors that are coming, right? So even if your day job is not cybersecurity, you can be curious about cybersecurity, and you can keep learning, and eventually you will definitely land a cybersecurity job. This is for people who are like not in cybersecurity. Be curious, collaborate with the people who are already in cybersecurity, contribute in your way, right? So one unique contribution that you can do, right? You identify a cybersecurity challenge, right? By collaborating with some cybersecurity people, try to build an application if you're a developer that solves that challenge, right? A small code, for example, right? A small snippet, because you are an expert in developing code and writing code. So that is great way to build value, and that will definitely help you land a job, because you built a tool, even though how much of a small that is, to basically solve a cybersecurity problem. And for that, you don't need to be cybersecurity expert. You just need to understand the problem, and you need to be a expert in building that tool, writing that code, which you are already, right? So this is just an example, but try to collaborate as much as possible. Keep curiosity up, and then you will definitely land a job.
Oh, definitely, definitely, and yeah, that's pretty. I have seen this is quite important. The curiosity is something that is very much important. Otherwise, it's very difficult to like just you would be able to do the job, but progressing it and keeping the interest alive, that's very difficult. Like I see a lot of people who go into development jobs just for the sake of it, and then they are not very curious about it, and they get burned out, and like they start complaining that this is not interesting. There's a lot of pressure and everything. I understand there's a pressure, but still, I feel if you are interested, you would definitely like put in some extra time, extra effort to just go and do those things. That's really true. Yep.
Yeah.
So you mentioned collaborating with other people and such. So let's say there's a person who is a non-tech person, let's say a sales guy, and he sees these bug bounties and all those kinds of things, and he's very curious about cybersecurity. He doesn't have much knowledge, but how should he start into cybersecurity? Like the way I suggest is usually reading news articles and getting to understand what those terms are, and that then follow maybe online tutorials and stuff. But how would you suggest to them, someone who's not very
Yeah.
techy?
I believe the best and the only approach that I've seen working in the long term is to understand the basics, right? So if the person is completely non-technical, right? You spoke about sales, right? So it is very difficult to grasp and do bug bounty straight away. So I will say follow some basics tutorials and try to do hands-on on basics, like basics of networking. What is OSI model? What are routers, switches, firewalls, right? Then basics of application. What is HTTP, HTTPS? How does cookies work? How does your mobile applications work? Grab the basics, and then start going through the public reports. When I started at Bug Bounty, there were not many public reports, right? You have to learn on your own, and you have to implement and find unique vulnerabilities. But now you see, go to HackerOne Buckout, there's a list of publicly disclosed reports. So when you go through a report, you will also see new terms that you don't understand, right? Then try to go back, do your research, understand the basics about that technology, and then come back and reread the vulnerability again. It will make complete sense to you. So basics is the only way that will work long term. You can, for example, you can find a vulnerability by duplicating another vulnerability found by somebody else, but that is once or twice, right? If you want to build a career in cybersecurity or in bug bounty for a long term, then I will recommend go back to the basics, try to understand the technology behind it. Also, when you're running a tool, right? Don't like, if you are trying to replicate someone's work, that's fine, but if you are running a tool on a fresh target, first understand what you expect as the output of the tool and what the tool is supposed to do, right? Then it will make definite sense, and then you can refine the results and get the most out of the tool, right? Tools are very important. Also, learning how to exploit a vulnerability manually will teach you a lot.
Yep. Yep. I've seen that. I mean, first you do it manually. Let's say you're doing SQL injection, and then you go to maybe SQL map or some other tool that automates the same process, but in a way faster and more accurate way. So you should know the basics.
Yeah, but
I've talked to,
I
yeah.
have faced this, like, I've run SQL map on a production website, which went down, right? And
A
there's a
nightmare.
common theme, because at that time I didn't know what parameters are required to make sure this doesn't happen, right?
That's a
So
scary one.
learn the tool as much as possible before you run it, so that you understand what to expect.
That's true. It's like handing a machine gun to someone because it has a lot of queries and it does a lot of stuff. So it's better you
Yeah.
be safe while using it. You know what you're using it. So yeah, that's very true. Even I was talking in the previous session as well, and the same, like the hacker also mentioned that yeah, you should know the basics only. Then the tools would also be able to help you. Otherwise, it's just like you're running some random scans and stuff, and you might not get anything, and then you would get frustrated that okay, this is not working, this is not working, and again the search of a new tool goes on. So that should not be the case. Yep. Cool. Yeah. So
Right.
coming to the next one, that someone who is already into cybersecurity and they would want to progress. This is specifically maybe my personal question, and a lot of people who are already into the journey, not only just cybersecurity, but progressing in your corporate career. How do you what because you have been into this for 12 years, so you know a lot of these things that happen. Maybe corporate politics, or how you should be more vocal about the work that you present, more taking more responsibility or things that you're working on. So those things, how do you think that what would be a suggestion to someone who is like 2 3 years into their career, or how should they plan their career?
Um, Great question. So I will say first job is to find a mentor, right? Um, Find somebody who you want to be in their shoes, like when you progress in your career, right? So if you want to be VP, director, CTO, right? Find a guy who is already there, maybe in a different company, maybe in the same company, right? And try to collaborate with them as much as possible. Try to learn from them, right? And they will actually define your path from where you are to where you want to go. But it is also difficult to identify a mentor and also get mentored by somebody, right? Because teaching and also learning is a difficult process, right? You need to
Sure.
dedicate a lot, right? So if that is not possible, then join a community, right? What helped me progress in my cybersecurity career was null, because when I joined null around
Syncing.
2012, 2013, right? I didn't know much about cybersecurity. I didn't know how to exploit SQL injection manually. When at that point, when I landed my first cybersecurity job, I was like, there's no shame in saying that I did not know how to manually exploit SQL injection. Where I learned these things is through the workshops in the community, where like we gave hands-on experience to people for free, right? It was pro bono, and everybody contributed, and we learned together, right? So if you are not able to find a direct mentor, try to join such community where there are events, where there are live hacking sessions, right? Where there are talks, uh, and being physically with like-minded people helps, right? Online webinars are good, and this is the way forward, right? But I am from the time where, like, I got a lot by being physically with these like-minded people, with the experts, and learning from them, right? So if you face an issue, right, you're not able to code something, script something, uh, like, you can sit with the person who is the expert and like pick their brains and try to learn from them. So it's always it comes back to curiosity, right? So whenever you have a question, like, try to reach out. Don't feel that what the other person will think of you, but try to reach out. Try to ask the questions to the experts, and they will help you, and that's how you will learn. Another way to progress in career is to build something, right? Build something that you can host on GitHub and share it as part of your profile. And that something should be something that people use, right? It should be solving a real problem. Whatever smaller the problem is, uh, when you build something and that gets appreciated, your career goes from like 0 to 100 very fast, right? So
I have seen
this is
that.
another thing. Then teach, right? When you learn something, teach it to others, and this will also help, right? So I was initially just a participant, but then when I became a speaker at null, and I started giving out talks, I learned much more than what I learned as a participant, because then you need to be conscious of what you are sharing, and for that you need to learn much more than what you already um, got to know, right?
That's true.
So
Yeah.
these are some things that you can do to build your career.
Yeah, like while I'm recording, I'm a bit more conscious that I need to give a very accurate information. So I understand that you study a lot, you research a lot, and you make sure that there are nothing like you're misinforming people. That's important. And regarding what you
Yes.
said, progressing in career by teaching, I've seen that the videos I made. Sometimes I had in interviews that questions were asked from my videos itself. That okay, you did this. How did you do this? How did you approach it? So that was quite a good, like it was a good feedback for my videos as well, that okay, people are actually watching those who are in big companies as well, and also that
Yeah.
okay, this is something that is adding value to people. That's
Yeah.
very true.
Definitely.
That's very true. Oh,
So,
yep.
uh, so try to find a mentor to break this down, right? Try to find a mentor and get learn from them. If not, join a community, learn in the group scenario. If not, or that will definitely happen. But with that, try to build something, host it on GitHub, share it with people, help them use it, and then teach back, right? Share your knowledge with people, whichever medium. Like YouTube is a great medium, but whichever medium, you can also like invite 5 people to your home and just like-minded people, and just share or discuss with them. That's also sharing your knowledge, right? So,
Yeah,
and you
that's
will
very true.
definitely learn something new.
That's true. That's true. And these meetups and all, these are very like they are very useful. Like I've been going to null meetups once in a while since 2019, and these are very useful. You meet so many like-minded people and get to learn so much thing just with that 1 2 hour 3 hour session, that would be very hard to just solo going online and searching for those things, because you
Yeah.
get to see them live and you talk to them, and that's a very good experience. I suggest everyone, if they have a null chapter nearby or in their like in their city or town, that would be really awesome to visit it. If not, you can start your own null chapter and then maybe join, get people to join to it. That would really cool. Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
And also regarding what you said, the sharing and teaching, I've suggested this to a lot of people who are new into cybersecurity, that write blogs about anything that you read, anything that you feel like sharing, any new thing that you are doing. Even if not it's not new, maybe the way you are explaining it might be new. Like I have made videos on nuclear and stuff. There were hundreds of videos before that. There were hundreds of content before that. But the way I explain, maybe that is something people might have liked it. So it's just the
Yeah.
way that you are presenting it.
True. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, coming to the next one. So where do you see cybersecurity evolving in the next 10 years? Like we have seen chat GPT and all these things, these are quite good. And I believe that for source code reviews and stuff like that, it might be very useful. But I'm not sure, like the manual pen testing, people still say that this will remain as it is. People will still be need to do manual pen testing and stuff like that. But where do you see yourself, not only for AI, but other fields as well? Where do you see yourself cybersecurity evolving in the next 10 years?
Yeah, that's in everybody's mind, right? With Chat GPT around, and with right, so much AI buzzword being
It's
flowing
true.
around, right? So that's in everybody's mind. Like, is my job in threat, right? So I'll come back to that, but yes, this is a fact that there will be more and more automation in the future, right? Next 10 years, what you're doing now will be done by bots. But as human beings, there will always be intelligent things to do, right? So try to identify those things that where you can add intelligent value, right? Not just manual effort. Try to find stuff where you can put your uh, value from getting 1x to 5x out of it, right? Try to get 5x out of something, and that's where your next role will be, right? Just how can you make the thing that is delivering 1x now to 5x, right? Now this is where a lot of automation will already cover the task that you are doing. Next, governments will get involved. Right now, you see that U.S. government is completely involved in cybersecurity, right? So they also monitor the cybersecurity of large organizations, right? They ask for regular compliance and regulations report. They are creating new regulations every day, and this is going to be the most important reality in next 10 years. Every government, every country will have their own regulations, and if you have to do business in that country, you need to be compliant with the regulations of that country in terms of cybersecurity, which will be enforced. Currently it is there, but it is not enforced as much, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm, yeah.
And also your business partners will enforce these regulations, right? Currently they might ask that show us your pen test report, but then they will be pen test report will be just one part of the overall regulation based on the business vertical, right? It is not enforced as such, but it will be very important in the future, and that's what will drive the growth, right? The third thing that I think will happen is consolidation of tools, right? So you, as a pen tester, as a security consultant, you live in your silos, right? You do some testing, you do some hacking, you do some manual stuff, you run some tools, right? And this is all like the business does not understand this, but the business in the future will understand a platform where they can see the posture of their applications, their network, the cybersecurity posture of their assets, right? So this is where the future is going, where everything will be driven through a platform where all tools consolidate, and
Mm-hmm.
then most of the activities that a tester does now will be automated through the platform, which is related to the orchestration of the scans, related to orchestration of policies, related to remediation as well, right? Patching will also be also gets automated in a sense, right? And everything, all the inputs from all these tools will come into a single platform, and that's where you can see, you can correlate, normalize, deduplicate, prioritize, right? And see your real risk, not 50,000, 60,000 vulnerabilities. That is the past, right?
That is
So
noise.
yeah, that is the past. So the future is going to be platform driven, and focus will shift from vulnerabilities to threats, right? Because you say, like, you see your organizations that you worked in the last 5 years, like I, for my personal experience, 90% of the vulnerabilities that were identified in my last 5 years experience have not been remediated still.
Mm,
Maybe some of them gets remediated as part of the patching process, which is continuously happening. But if the vulnerability is a low medium vulnerability, it lies there, right?
that's true.
And
That
this is not, I believe, the future right approach for the future, because in the future people will be concerned about what is getting exploited, what is my threat based on the industry, based on the um, type of products they are making, based on the technology stack, right? What is my threat, right? What is being exploited around these areas that I'm dealing with in the wild, right? And this information will be very valuable in the future. So people will take decisions, and people will do effort based on the threat exposure rather than the vulnerabilities that they are trying to that they are finding on a regular basis. Also, scanning will become completely uh, automated. So no humans will be facing tools, rather than they will be facing workflows, right? So we
that's
will
true.
define workflows, and with the tool integrations, the scans will happen automatically based on the schedule driven by compliance, right? And all these information that comes into the platform will churn through a machine learning process, where in the future a lot of decisions will be already prescribed and by the platform itself, right? Which are the top 2% vulnerabilities that the organization needs to fix, which are related to the threats that are going on in the industry, right? This will all be driven by the machine learning intelligence from the platform. And this is where I see the future going in next 10 years.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've seen like I've like a few vendors that I work with, and they mentioned 50,000 vulnerabilities and all those kinds of things. So they are doing something like that. That which are the vulnerabilities that are actually exploitable, and that comes down to, let's say, if you have 1,000 vulnerabilities, that come down to 10 or 15 that are actually exploitable from the outside world. Otherwise, the rest of those are unreachable in one way or the other. So that's a pretty good tool that I have worked with, and that seems quite promising. And with the advent of AI and all these, so that's pretty. I think that would be a solid use case there.
Yeah, I will not say AI as such, I will say machine learning,
Ah, yeah,
which will
that's true.
drive your decision making and make it faster, right?
I'm a noob here. AI ML. That sounds the same. The same to me. So it's okay.
Yeah, most it is the same, but there's a very drastic difference. So in ML, you're basically trying to make decisions and try to churn through data, and in AI, you are basically trying to create consciousness,
Okay, makes
right?
sense. Makes
So
sense.
that's the difference. Very fundamental difference, actually.
That should be. Yeah, that is. But yeah,
Okay.
is there some echo from somewhere? I'm not sure.
Is there echo?
Oh no, no, it's fine. I am still able
Yeah,
to hear my.
actually, I have a speaker on the side, so that's why.
Okay, could be, could be. Anyways, yeah. I have a question here. I think there's an echo there. One second, let me mute it maybe. Yeah, I've just muted this side. So yeah. There's one question. I'll be taking it later, and but let's come to my last question, and then I'll take the question from Vignesh. And there's a cool dude. So yeah. Any hobbies, things you do, to things you love to do apart from work? Anything that is something in your mind that now I would be focusing on this thing or something like that. That I'd be really curious to know about it.
Yeah, great question. So I like reading. I'm always on Twitter, LinkedIn, not much on Twitter nowadays after all the political drama that happened, but I'm more on LinkedIn nowadays. I always run, like, try to read at least 3 to 4 articles related to hacking or related to finance or related to geopolitics every day, right? So I that is something that I spend a lot of time outside of hacking is reading. And then me being in Dubai has really helped me travel. So I've been fortunate enough to travel to 28 countries. So traveling has become kind of my part of my leisure activities that I do. So along with that, I have a daughter, so I spend time with my daughter whenever I get free time. So,
Makes sense. Yep. Oh, so what's next for you into cybersecurity? We have been into product security and such, but what's next?
yeah, great question. So as I said, right, next 10 years, how they look, right? So I'm trying to identify this as, or I'm trying to address this challenge, right? So what some of the problems that I saw during my last 12 years of experience is, there are too many tools, right? There are so many tools, and there is so much data coming out of these tools, and there is no proper solution to make sense out of it. You run two different web application tool on the same target, there will be 50% similarities in the output, right? Now, how do you identify that 50% without spending 2 days on both the reports, right? And then on top of that, you have to be tool expert on both the tools, right?
That's true.
So
Mhm.
how do you do that? So this is a challenge that I'm trying to address in the next 6 months. Then there are too many vulnerabilities, 50,000, 60,000, and if you go to a bank, 300,000, a million vulnerabilities, right? Now, if you take that list to an engineer, they will be like, okay, everything looks same to me. I don't know how to start, right?
So
There
true.
is red, green, maroon, yellow. That's fine,
Feels
but you know,
relatable.
I'm colorblind. I don't know how to start. So there will be some excuse, right? Because it is not that they are not trying to address it. It is a very genuine fact that okay,
Mm,
60,000, 70,000 vulnerabilities are not easy to be handled when you're working on functionality day to day, and the business is behind you to deliver functionality, right? Because what sells at the end, your features sell, right? Cybersecurity is a value add which builds trust with the customer, which is also very important. But first, you have to build the features, right? So we have to create a flow or create an environment for the engineers where they can focus on the most important tasks, like top 2%. Even in top 2%, like give them the top 1.5%. Once they tackle it down, appreciate them, laud them, and then move on to the next 1%, right? So this is my focus as well in the
sure.
next 6 months to derive a intelligent way to generate that top 2%, link it to threat intelligence, because what is being exploited in the wild, uh, what um,
Uh,
is there something related to your vertical, your organization, your uh, technology stack that is being exploited, and you need to then highlight that and fix that immediately, right? That one becomes more important than the rest of the 60,000, right? Even though that is medium, right?
yeah,
Even though
that
that
makes
is not
sense.
the deepest
Yeah.
of the reds in your list, right? But if it is being exploited, that becomes most important for you, right? And a lot of manual effort goes into running these tools. So creating, orchestrating these tools is one important um, area that I want to work on in the next 6 months. Um, Next challenge that I see is a lot of code is being written, right? Agile development. When I started in cybersecurity, it was waterfall. One release in 6 months, or like one release in 3 months, right? One major release, right? That
That's
was
true.
the
That's true.
that was the process at that time. And
Mm.
it was always like minor releases were always internal, and it doesn't go to production, and then you don't need cybersecurity, right? And there used to be one major release a quarter, and then you put all your focus on that major release. um, do threat modeling, do pen testing, do application security, do production monitoring. But nowadays, right, if you see Flipkart, if you see Amazon, they're doing a couple of releases a day at the minimum,
I
right?
worked with
How
a
do you
client.
do?
They push every hour new code. Every hour is like they have images, so they publish images every hour. So that's crazy. I mean, I don't know how
Yeah,
they cyber security team tackles even.
yeah. So like that is too extreme. But then, like, consider one release a day, right? So a cybersecurity engineer's job will be to first come and identify what the change happened, and then his day will be over.
That's
Right? So how will you do any cybersecurity activity, right? First, you need
that's
to understand what's the change in today's release, right? And then go through the features, business logic. So it becomes very difficult to cover this manually with the velocity of development that is happening nowadays, right? So then the best option is to create workflows through the DevSecOps model, right? Integrate with the pipeline, integrate with the tools, and then create a workflow, intelligent workflow that identifies your releases automatically and does the scan, basically, right?
makes sense. Makes
So
sense.
human involvement is zero, right? The
Yeah,
human
that's
involvement will be coming to the dashboard and seeing what was the output of the scan during this release. And if you want to build then process automation on top of that for build breaks and all, that is a great addition, right? So this is something that is also a major challenge with the velocity of development and trying to address that, right?
yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, so that's where the whole topic of today's call came into my mind, right? So scanners have become business as usual nowadays, right? You run scans on it. Every organization has a necess and a burp,
That's true.
right?
That's true.
There is
That's
no
so true.
organization that doesn't have necess and a burp. Even Tenable, they have now pivoted from like been like they are still handling the scanners in terms of creating new rules, creating new attack vectors. But I went to the Tenable conference recently, and they are talking about a platform where they build intelligence, right?
Intelligence
So
is very important. Yeah, correlating
so
stuff
where
is. critical.
yeah, where they can show the posture of what they are scanning, right? Security posture of what they are scanning, right? So every vendor is now moving, and even the consumers, the customers, are becoming aware that okay, scanners have become business as usual. So we need to now move the intelligent people, the smart hackers, who are a very very rare resource nowadays, right? There are 3 million jobs open in the United States itself, cybersecurity jobs, right?
That's true.
Vacant. So take them out of running tools on a day-to-day basis and let them work on identifying the most critical things to fix, right? Because end of the day you're not secure till you have remediated something. Just scanning will not make you secure. So scanning will become fully automated, and then your jobs will shift to intelligence, building threat models, building attack vectors, right? And identifying what is the most important thing. Yeah, so
Cool.
this
Yeah.
is where the future is going towards posture management, and my focus next 2 3 years will be to work on this area and contribute to the community and to the industry overall.
Ah, yeah, I get it. I mean, that's very critical as well because like you get a lot of these noise, but which are the actual one? That's the important thing to figure out. Just an informal question: how is life in Dubai? I mean, I've seen talked about a lot about it. Even I was considering once moving to there. I got a job opportunity, but I never moved. But yeah, how is it there?
I will say it is it is really really good. Coming out of India, you will first get a modernization shock, right? This is a very new city. Everything is pick and span. Everything is, even if you go to the subway, it is like clean to the T, right? Everything is very very shiny, right? Once you get through that, right? Once you get through that, you get to know the people. So then there are people from every country in this city, right? It's a
Oh,
really true multicultural city. You get food from every cuisine in this world, right? Once you get out of that shine in your eye, you will understand that there is really substance in this city. uh, there are people from various culture, there are food from various culture, there are so many things to do, in whether in desert or the beach, or you know join a community, malls, every that's all part of the shine. But on a day-to-day basis, you have a lot of things to do, you will never get bored here. And the best thing is, this is in the middle of the world, kind of, right? So travel is really really easy from here, whether
yeah,
you
that's
consider
good.
Europe or Asia or Africa. Even I would have never thought that I will go to 3 countries in Africa, right? When I
Yeah,
was in India.
I had this plan that maybe stay for a year or two and then travel to these countries and then come
So
back to
I've
India.
traveled to now to around 28 countries from Dubai. And this is really one of the benefits of being in Dubai. And I know people in Dubai cybersecurity community who have traveled way more than me. Right. So,
The cyber
and
security community in Dubai is traveling.
yeah, everybody is traveling in Dubai. And talking about the companies, there are startups coming up now, right? It used to be driven by large corporations like Emirates and BT, Emirates, who are government driven and who are working as a one sole contributor in a very large environment, like um in a very large way, large organizations. But nowadays, there is, for example, innovation. There are various innovation hubs. There are various incubation centers. There are various new free zone entities which are focused on startups. So if you have an idea, if you consider the crypto industry itself, a lot of the intelligence has moved into, a lot of the contributors and startups have moved into Dubai, because they have created an ecosystem that basically nurtures those startup and those founders, right? They appreciate the founders in crypto as well as in various other areas which are still being explored by the other countries, right? So
Yeah,
this is
that's
becoming a
right.
startup hub. there's a lot of people who are innovating here, and I will say work wise also there is a lot of potential in the future of Dubai.
Yep. I've seen Dubai adapting technology very fast. I mean, you can easily see the modernization, and then obviously crypto adoption was very soon to come either way. Yep.
Yeah, in
So,
cybersecurity, this region is doing catch up. So
uh,
the percentage growth will be more than what you will see in the United States.
so how is the cybersecurity industry, or rather the general tech industry, is like one of the things that I have seen when I talked about you previously as well. Like the number of companies or the opportunities that you have in India is more compared to
Yeah,
Dubai. But
yeah.
again, there's this the taxation and the pricing and all those kinds of things that you mentioned. But how are the opportunities
I
there?
will say
What kind?
never come. Yeah, I will say if you're coming for money, then okay, will be a transitory phase of your life, and there will be a stage when you basically earn your maximum potential because technology gets saturated. If you are in technology, it gets saturated in this region. So,
That's
um, so if you are looking to innovate, if you are looking to build something, then this is the right time to come to Dubai and register and get started. Because there is a lot of VCs, there are a lot of funds here, and then it is also um, well connected across the globe. So you have VCs from UK who are investing in this region, not much from US, but yeah, from Europe. So the ecosystem is building faster than in other regions. But yes, I agree with you that for technology, India is still much better if you want to grow in technology uh, area.
hmm. So a startup and all those kinds of things, it's very good to shift to Dubai and start there because of the VCs and everything. The money is flowing there. Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I'd like to take some questions from the chat. So there's this question from Cool Dude. Your thoughts on masters in cybersecurity abroad? Anything?
Uh, so so any degree is good to have, right? After you have completed your bachelor's is the bare minimum, but then any degree after that, like your master's, MS, PhD, whatever you want to gain, is good to have on your resume if you are in cybersecurity, because in cybersecurity it is changing so fast that
No.
you have to learn yourself. The syllabus becomes obsolete in 1 to 2 years,
That's
right?
very true. That's very true.
So and the future of education itself is online, right? You saw COVID happened, and then everybody
Hmm.
next day, in 1 day, they started learning online, right? So this is the future, right? I don't think physical masters, unless you are doing it from Harvard or Stanford or uh, like the top 10 Ivy schools, right?
MITs and
I
all
don't
those.
think
Yeah.
physical masters abroad spending so much money
True.
makes sense at the moment, because the syllabus are changing so fast, and even the technology is changing so fast, especially in the cybersecurity area. I believe if you learn by yourself, you find a mentor that you can collaborate with, you join a community, and do bug bounty, contribute to this community, you will learn much more.
Yep.
But this is my personal opinion.
I totally get it.
Take your, don't take your decision on my opinion.
That's true. That's true. I
This
mean,
has
yeah,
been
obviously.
my thought process.
Yeah, what I have seen is people who are not from the like computer science background, or let's say they have done BCMC, and they would want to have a solid backing on cybersecurity, or they would want to get a job which requires a master's degree. They are mostly inclined towards getting a master's in cybersecurity, or getting a lot of people I have seen who have wanted to get a job in US or something. They are doing masters there so that they can easily get a job there, because it's difficult to move from here. Who is sponsoring you for a visa there? That's a
Yeah,
hard part. For job opportunity, I feel that that might be useful, but again, it's a opportunity cost that you're paying, and also the capital cost that you're bearing. So both of these would play into picture.
yeah.
Let's come to another
Don't
one. This
don't
is
think you will learn more than what you will
yeah,
learn yourself by do your research.
learning is, yeah, definitely learning online is the fastest way, because a lot of things change over time. And even
Yeah,
I also had my like GRE exam given, but I never went to US for that because I didn't find it very interesting, to be precise. I might have gone, but not right now. There's this question from Vigneshwar. A person who worked at a non-tech job and took a career break of 1 year. He did masters in cybersecurity and done a few certifications like CH. He wants to get into cybersecurity. What is the advice you have to give him for the job and the career?
Um, Non-tech, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
The advice is
but
very
he did a
simple.
master's in cybersecurity now after
Yeah,
taking a
yeah.
career break.
The advice is very simple. Not sure what was covered in the masters, but you need to first grab all the basics of technology, right? Network, application, mobile, right? Understand how everything works. Then it becomes easy to think like a hacker and then try to break things, right? Our job is to break things, but if we don't understand how things work, it is very difficult to break them, right? And then try to collaborate with people already working in cybersecurity. um, Maybe you will not be entertained in the first go, but if you are contributing to what they are doing in your own way, like non-tech, maybe I'm not sure which area, but for example, sales, right? So sales people are very intuitive, very friendly people, like people person, right? People person. So try to make friends that way, right? You will be very. It will be very easy for you to make friends, right? So try to make friends with the person who is in cybersecurity. Learn from them. Teach them something that you know, right? And then this is the way that you can also crack into cybersecurity.
Cool. Another question, it's from Aftab. It's very similar. Like I've done CCNA and certs like RHCSA. That gave me a good grasp of how networks and Linux distribution works. Did 2 months of internship as a web app pen tester and now have been looking for a job since. Any suggestions for job hunting? Like what I used to tell people that go on find people on LinkedIn who are a security engineer, people who are working at companies. They might have some openings that they know of, which is not yet public, and then you can apply for them early on. But any suggestions, sir, you would want to give to them for job hunting?
Yeah. There are a lot of companies who are hiring freshers. So try to find those companies and approach them, because if you find security people from a rather large company, they will go for at least 2 to 3 years of experience, and then that will become a not a fruitful task for you, right? So try to first filter out the companies who hire fresher, and then try to reach out to people there. So I knew, but I don't want to name those companies, but I knew a few companies in Bangalore who were hiring fresher. Maybe initially the payment will not be that good. Uh, while you're looking for a job, I will say, like, go into bug bounty, try to contribute as much as possible, learn from the public reports, learn from your what you did in the 2 months web app pen testing internship. um, like, money should not be a concern in cybersecurity at the moment, because there are so many avenues to contribute. You can do crowdsource pen testing, you can do bug bounty, you can do consulting work for various people. Like, a lot of these organizations also don't want to hire on their payroll a cybersecurity guy full time, right? Because they have work. For example, they're building application, they're going to release it. They want to get a pen test done before they release it, right? So try to find such opportunities where you can contribute outside getting a full-time job till you're getting a full-time job, and then once you start contributing there, you can put it in your resume, and that will definitely help you get the full-time job. And try to build something, right? If you know coding, um, try to build scripts, try to build small tools, showcase it in your local community, then take it to other conferences if your tool becomes useful in the future.
Yep, I've seen visibility is very important. I mean, there are hundreds of people who are working, but if you are visible, it's easy to get a job. And yeah, because finding people in cybersecurity who are good, it's a bit hard.
Yeah.
So yeah. Then one last question, sir, before we sign off. So is this is from Vishnu. He says he's a beginner. He wants to ask Web 2 or Web 3, which one should he start, keeping future in mind.
Web3 has its base in Web2. So if you don't understand Web2, Web3's will be vague, very vague to you, right? And this is for non-tech people, right? For non-tech people, they can go into, so if you are in sales or marketing, you can go into Web3 directly. But if you are in tech, I think understanding Web 2 and like working in Web 2 for some time is very important before you make that leap, because the underlying technology in Web 3 is also Web 2, right? There
That's
is no technology like what I will say. A lot of the concepts in Web 3 are taken from Web 2. So if you are a technical guy, then Web 2 is very important to learn before you move to Web 3. And the future in mind, Web 2 is not going away, by the way.
that's true. Not everyone is just switching overnight to Web3.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, sir. Eh, Thanks for giving your time. I know you're quite busy, and it was very useful to get your insights, and very helpful for a lot of freshers who are into cybersecurity or getting into cybersecurity. I'd love to chat more with you maybe later on. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me, and it was great sharing my experience and also learning from you and from the people who ask questions. Thank you for that. I look forward to the next one. Thank you. Cheers.